You're listening to the Conscious Debriefing Show podcast on Anchor FM.
Alrighty. Welcome back to another edition of the Conscious Debriefing podcast. My name is Jason Bad and I will be your host for today's podcast. Well, yes, as you can see, the picture there that I've got there's a little bit slightly different. Okay, this is just my introduction to the podcast. The podcast that I had with Christoff, Mpiyakhe, Russell and Scott. Yes, Russell was brought in later. Jock Jonker and Dominic Parker, unfortunately they could not join us. Dominic had some Wi-Fi issues. Jock said he had other plans. No problems. That was right, guys. It's alright. I excused you. It's fine. Mpiyakhe only joined us an hour after we were into our podcast, but nonetheless he did join us, and I'm grateful that he did, because it turned out to be a hell of an awesome podcast. We had some laughs. It was lekker. But the idea of the podcast was with Christoff's idea. Christoff wanted me to have a podcast with some guys, and he wanted us to speak about future strategies and how to better South Africa. What can we as citizens of South Africa do to make South Africa a better place to live in? And we spoke about that, but as the podcast went on, there was this one documentary that I spoke about called The Great Hack. Now, I just quickly want to play you this trailer, or The Great Hack. This documentary you guys have got to watch. I'll leave the link in my description as well, but you have to watch this documentary. It's about a company called Cambridge Analytica, how they basically, well, some people would like to see it as rigging the votes. Not quite. It's a lot more complicated than what it is about rigging votes. It's about privacy, data that's been collected for these voting campaigns, such as the Trump elections and the Brexit elections. So let me quickly play you this trailer, and you take it from there.
Who has seen an advertisement that has convinced you that your microphone is listening to your conversations? All of your interactions, your credit card swipes, web searches, locations, likes, they're all collected in real time into a $1 trillion a year industry.
The real game changer was Cambridge Analytica. They'd worked for the Trump campaign and for the Brexit campaign. They started using information warfare.
Cambridge Analytica claimed to have 5,000 data points on every American voter.
I started tracking down all these Cambridge Analytica ex-employees.
Someone else that you should be calling to the committee is Brittany Kaiser.
Brittany Kaiser, once a key player inside Cambridge Analytica, casting herself as a whistleblower.
The reason why Google and Facebook are the most powerful companies in the world is because last year data surpassed oil in value. Data is the most valuable asset on Earth. We targeted those whose minds we thought we could change until they saw the world the way we wanted them to. I do know that their targeting tool was considered a weapon.
There is a possibility that the American public have been experimented on.
This is becoming a criminal matter. When people see the extent of the surveillance, I think they're going to be shocked.
And I still fear for your life with the powerful people that are involved.
But I can't keep quiet just because it'll make powerful people mad.
Data rights should be considered just fundamental rights.
This is about the integrity of our democracy. These platforms which were created to connect us have now been weaponized. It's impossible to know what is what, because nothing is what it seems.
And there you have it. The Great Hack. Again, for the listeners out there and viewers out there, I am not monetizing on this this video or in podcast. not monetized. This is just simply for that purpose of consciousness, like my podcast is, the conscious debriefing. The Great Hack is about people hacking on your privacy. Is it really private? I mean, we all gave Facebook that permission. We gave Twitter that permission to put our photos on, to update our status, how we feel emotionally. We gave that permission. So I don't really see it as a criminal offense, but it's probably a criminal offense in the law in those certain countries, like in England and America, where they are using what you like, your emotions, and they're playing with your emotions, and they're making adverts to play with your emotions, to obviously to change your mindset and how you feel about a campaign. So yeah, that's there, baby. But it was just fascinating to see how a company like Cambridge Analytica can dig in and use your data for their campaign purposes. But later in the podcast, because this podcast was recorded, I recorded on Friday evening, we recorded the podcast. Listen to what we all said about how we spoke a little bit about cryptocurrency, and we spoke about how we can buy property and turn it into a little oranje. Guys, you know what, you be the judge. But please, after this podcast, leave me, go onto my Facebook page. The link is on here, on my podcast, and just leave me a few comments on what you think about creating a little like Christoff said, a little Volksstaat. But it's not a Volksstaat. We don't want to create a Volksstaat. We just want to create a little piece of heaven. I mean, after all, what is it that we're all seeking, guys? We're seeking peace. We want peace. This war and violence and crime that's happening to us, it's just not on anymore. It's just not on. I mean, but anyway, enough of that jibber jabber. Let's get into the podcast, guys. Please, I hope you enjoyed, and please, I'm asking, leave me some comments. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear what you want to say, and subscribe to my channel, guys. Please, I haven't really been asking about it, but subscribe, because there's many more podcasts like this, and much more discussions. This was a very deep discussion that we had, and to a certain degree, I think it was a bit of a debate too, because we were the guys were arguing a bit, but it was awesome. I really enjoyed myself. So yeah, let's listen to the podcast. Let's get the guys on the line and listen to the podcast. Okay, we are back, guys. Lekker. We are back for another edition of the Conscious Debriefing Show, and I've got a couple of special guests with us today. Christoff, you've been on the show before. Thank you for joining us again. And I've got two guys from Reactionary Opinions, Scott and Russell. Awesome, guys. Thanks for being here.
Pleasure's ours.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with the introduction. Christoff, you go first, my man.
Yeah, I mean, my name is Christoff. I am an activist for the ZACP, I suppose I could say that. And I make videos, give to people, and what I sell to people. So I'm basically like a media contractor.
Hundreds.
Yeah, that's basically what I do.
I think
a meme lord as well.
Are we all?
Yeah, but that's part. It's communicating.
Are we all with the ZACP? Yeah? We all.
I don't know.
We all.
Scott, are you feeling fine?
Ek slaan terug, papa.
Hoe terug?
Slaan terug. Slaan terug.
Okay, Scott. Scott, it's your turn.
Okay, hi guys. I'm Scott Mclaren. I'm one of the hosts of a YouTube channel called Reactionary Opinions, and pretty much the name says it all. I'm a reactionary. Basically, what I want is a return to sanity. I'm tired of democracy. I'm tired of liberalism, and I just want a return to sanity. I'm not a conservative. A lot of people label me as a conservative. I suppose I could be a conservative, and the only way that conservatism is actually sustainable is if it has a strong, specifically, in my opinion, Christian or religious underpinning. And that's basically what the show is about. It's a philosophical look at the madness of liberalism and how it has run away and destroyed it, and how sort of the French Revolution is probably the worst thing to ever happen in modern history. And we're sitting with the consequences of it now, because every revolution after the French Revolution, and previously before that, obviously the American Revolution, but more so the French Revolution, has been the blueprint for every revolution thereafter.
Oh, hundreds. Russell, my man, your turn.
Yes, I'm stoked to be on your guys' discussion on your podcast. My name's Russel Mclaren. I'm Scott's brother. I'm also part of one of the 3 on reaction opinions. And we basically share and discuss thoughts on reactionary opinions about the world that we live in, and try to gain greater understanding of how we can diagnose what can be corrected and what is actually pulling us to society, and bringing some sort of sanity, like Scott says. So we believe that a lot of the things that we had 40, 100 odd years ago is actually good stuff to be chucked away. Trying back as much as possible, along with what we know to be working as well. So I am what I would say a reactionary, but a pragmatic reactor.
Right. Well, I'm actually humbled to have you both on my show, because I've had Dylan already on my show. Now I've got you both on some at the same time. This is an absolute pleasure. Thank you, guys. And Christoff, you too. Thank you, my man. Apologies to Dominic. He's got Wi-Fi issues. Dominic, if you're listening, sorry, my man. Sorry. Next time we got to make a plan somehow. Scott, you reckon?
I did get to hear his accent, though. I will say that. So to all those oaks that commented on the ZACP page, I can now confirm that Dominic actually does put on a fake black accent.
Mpiyakhe.
He sounds like a white guy trying to speak in a black accent. It is quite funny because he's talking like a black accent, but it sounds just weird, like a white dude trying to put on a black accent. Shame.
What's he trying to hide?
No, man, I'm kidding. It's probably his normal accent. I'm just trolling him.
Okay, all right.
And Mpiyakhe, he's also ditching us. Mpiyakhe. Oh well, next time, my dude. Next time. But anyway, let's get into it. I wanted to share this meme here. Can you guys see my first meme there?
Which one?
The Finding Zuma one.
Oh yeah.
Hey?
I saw that. Yeah. I got 11 problems and I can't remember none.
That's typical. But this one video I gotta play quickly. So I'm just gonna play this. Just 44 minutes, just for the listeners, for the viewers out there to watch this video.
Just 44 minutes.
44 seconds, sorry.
44 minutes, I was going to say.
I've got some flu.
It's going to be a reactive video.
Are we waiting for the video?
It's playing on my side.
Oh.
In other words, I'm not sure. I think...
Alright, that's it. That was hilarious. I had to play that video quickly. That Ronaldo put together where he's clearing his throat.
I haven't seen that one. So.
Yeah. Oh, it's hilarious. I did share it too, but you can play it. You can quickly play while we chat.
Did you put it on the
Yeah, it was
chat?
straight. Yeah, it was straight after the photo of that Finding Zuma. Yeah, straight after it.
Oh yes. Oh, okay. Classic.
Yeah, but he does it. He does it all the time. Every time he's about to like say a lie, then he just like clears his throat or whatever.
Yeah,
like it's like it's clear as day.
Did you watch that little video clip of him singing and dancing to that, saying "Zuma must fall"?
Yes,
Zuma must fall.
I saw it. Yeah.
Funny.
Hilarious.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't find this guy funny anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm full of him now. Like I also said,
I didn't. I saw Ronaldo putting us up, and I'm like, orange overalls yet. The police know where he is. Arrest him.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Never gonna happen. But
yeah, but if you see now, yeah. Carry on, Christoff.
No. You can.
Now, I was just gonna say, have you seen what the file looks like on the back of the judge? There's like a whole file there with like probably like 50 files in there. That's probably like all his charges, eh?
Like, dude, like the entire freaking ANC, like what's it? France says like you have the communists and the looters. Like that's basically what you have.
Yeah.
So they're both gonna loot you one way or another.
Yeah.
So it's like I just can't tolerate them anymore.
Myself and Scott were having an interesting discussion earlier about the different scenarios for the ruling party. Guys would like to hear it. I want to hear what we discussed.
Yeah. Go
ahead, man.
Yeah. So I was telling Scott, look, there's a few options available to the current government. You know, they're heading towards a fiscal cliff very, very. All right, we know. All right. So what are their options? All right. There's a few on the table for them. You know, the ones. These are the. I'll give four. All right. I'll start with and three of them and three of the four are diabolical and quite disastrous anyway. All right. But this is what they can probably do. One. Okay. All right. Great. So we were saying that the first thing that they can do. And don't get a shock, but they can always go and take control of the Reserve Bank and print money and bail out every print money. That's the first thing. That's a disaster. All right, that's hyperinflation, which means all the welfare checks that they pay out to all the SASSA beneficiaries will be worthless within a couple of months, and you'll have rights. So that's the one option they've got. The other options are raiding the pension funds. South Africa's got one of the biggest pension fund, cumulative pension funds in the world. Trillions of rand sitting there. I think it's about 4 or 5 trillion rand, which I'm sure they are licking their lips.
No, they want to. They want to get. Yeah, of course.
I must. Sorry, Russell. Before you carry on over there, I must make this perfectly clear and show you guys how easy it is actually for the government to raid the government employee pension fund. Okay, so the government employee.
You explain that part, Scott.
Yeah. So the government, it's very important to understand this. So the government employee pension fund is actually the 7th or 8th largest pension fund in the entire world. Okay. All that says to me is that we have an abnormally large government. Okay. It's quite clear. Okay. But what's very important is that all pension funds, private pension funds, corporate pension funds, provident funds, all of those are regulated by the Pension Funds Act. Okay. However, the government employee pension fund is an entity on its own, okay, which means that all the government employee pension fund regulation is actually written by the government, okay, which means, here's the problem, which means that essentially the government can with the swipe of one pen can claim and loot as much as they want to. And we're talking, like Russell said, we're talking trillions of rands.
Right. I think it's about 4 trillion rand, something ridiculous. But the problem with that is, like, of course, they can do that, all right. But what will happen then is the ANC then will lose its union support, clearly, because the union members are all government employees and all that sort of thing. Those employees are going to go to the union and say, "What the hell do you're supposed to be protecting us?" You know. Then the unions and the ANC were going to be at loggerheads. So I don't think that's actually an option for them either. Well, it is, but you never know. That could cause a massive split, and they can almost. I would go as far as to say that you might even see them start taking out hits and killing each other. All right. And then the third option is what is it? The third option will. What's the third one? Oh, IMF bailout. Which is also another problem, because for I'm talking. This is from the ANC's perspective. I'm talking now, not from our management perspective, obviously.
Yeah, we're just blips.
The ANC, then the IMF comes in, and Christine Lagarde says, "Okay, we can have the bucks. We can give it to you, no problem." but then you must do this, that, this, and you must cut here, and you must sell Eskom, and there'll be all sorts of conditions, which means the money being sold off, being circulated through the patronage system and the buddy system with all the cadre deployment and all that sort of thing, that's gone, all right? And do you think those members of the ANC ruling party are going to just sit there idly by and watch all that they've been politicking for the last 5-10 years go down in smoke and all that money disappear? They're going to start fighting each other for position.
Not a chance. There's going to be politicians hanging from light poles, I'm telling you.
Dude, they're going to pay them. They're going to pay them off.
Killing each other. They're going to start killing each other, is what I'm saying. All right. And, you know, and I was saying to Scott, what if the ANC were actually clever? All right. Those three options, both of them are dead ends for the ANC 5 years. All right. No ways they can keep control of those three scenarios. One way which is not a good way for the ANC, but long-term is a good way how they can actually do it, is they start implementing reforms now, right? They take the hit, but at least then you're in control of it. Before it gets you out of control, it's too late. You know what I mean? You won't be able to pick up the pieces. You get what I'm saying? At least if you start making reforms, you can weather the storm and you can actually be in control of your way. So, you know, those are the four scenarios that I see on the table for the ruling party. Option number 4 is actually for the ANC, whether they realize it or not, the best option in my book. If I was, you know, as from an outsider looking to how they're going to manage the say 5 years, option number 4 for me is actually the better one, because then at least you can be in control of the situation. Get what I'm saying? And prepare and actually control and manage the breakdown. If you lose control of it, then that's really a problem, even worse. So those are the 4 scenarios I see playing. I don't know if you guys think of anything else. That's what myself and Scott discussed earlier this morning. If you want to add anything to that or what you think about it, I'm open to discussion.
Christoff, I'm going to give it to you.
Well, look, if you look at the patronage ecosystem, okay, you see any reforms coming. I don't think that's good. I don't think that no matter how much the writing is on the wall, okay, they're not going to change course. They're going to stay the course. And basically, if they're going to, from the IMF, I can tell you right now that you will have the loony left, which they have used so many times. Everything is going to be all over this jowl and go like, yeah, but structural adjustment policies, austerity. Like, no, they're gonna freak out, and they're going to, like, just look at Eskom now, demanding people to pay them.
That's right.
Going and is like pulling out and destroying Eskom infrastructure and stuff like that. You will have people out there, anarchists, that will, and you will have people that will kind of pull out of the chaos. But there will be like I don't. What is weird for me is nobody's freaking out about the fact that he was in the Cape Flat for what, 2 days? Pulled out, and they're cutting the budget of the. These are sending very, very steel-booted signals.
The biggest problem we have is the unions. I mean, the trade unions and the NDR.
They are there, but it's not just the unions. You've got plenty of criminal elements.
True.
You've got syndicates. You've got people who are paying off the government and performing specific tasks.
Absolutely.
Like we're basically being ran by a mafia.
Correct. It's a gangster setup. As long as the money is flowing, everybody's happy. If the money stops flowing in a gang sort of situation, then there's gang wars.
Yeah. So basically, I think in a way we should stop thinking of our government as a government. We should start looking at our government as a criminal enterprise. Like
definitely. Yeah.
We should, like, at this stage, like, we should just, look at them that way, because every indication is just there that they own the police, they own this, they own that, and the criminals, is part of this network. I mean, murdered a police officer right in front of the military.
Mm-hmm.
And like what? Who is there to protect us? I mean, we're just gonna have to look after ourselves. We're just gonna have to wake up.
Christoff, can I ask you something there quickly? With regards to the gang violence and all of that, I think myself and Russell and Dylan did do an episode about crime and all of that a while back. What do you think? Now, we understand that gangsterism is a problem in South Africa, in parts like the Cape Flats and in a lot of places, okay? What do you think is the main cause of gangsterism?
I would say unemployment, and I would also say the education system. I think you will, and it also starts at home.
We spoke about this before. Yeah, it starts at home. Morality.
It's look. You have to understand. You've got a lot of broken families. Let me just draw from a little bit better experience. I've dated in my life, right? And a lot of the teachers that I've, I'm not talking about like dating, like in being in a long relationship. I'm talking about like going on a couple of dates.
Mm-hmm.
I find very much interest in teachers because they do a lot of, good work.
Mm-mm.
And a lot of the young women who are in this field, they tell me what happens is you get children that are coming from very, very violent families, or very, very violent family things that happens in the family, and then the children, the teachers are almost the parent figure. Like and that causes a drawback. Now you've got this child who possibly could have been, a fatal, or sorry, not fatale alcohol syndrome. I don't know what you call it in English.
Fetal alcohol syndrome.
Fetal alcohol syndrome. Yeah.
True.
You've got a lot of these different problems, and you've got the violence, and you've got you have to think about it this way: when you expose a child
to that violence in it, 100%, yeah.
Shit that is happening in the townships, like.
Okay, so that's all. I mean, I'm with you 100% there, Christoff. I mean, there's no doubt that broken families and all of that is what caused that. But now, how do we go about now that we are aware of what the problem is? We all know what causes the gangsterism and all of that. How do we solve it? How do we fix that?
Reform programs.
The communities have to have the power to do it themselves, and to say that they're not doing it themselves now already is a fallacy. Is a semblance of order in the townships and in some of these areas, because let me give you an example. One night, just in the dark, right? I was working on a film production. I got lost, right, in the dark, right? Because I was supposed to get our neighbors who was making a lot of noise stop making noise, but I was like walking through a veld to get to the place. like walking. So I was walking for a couple of minutes, and I got lost in the dark. And finding the source of the sound, and I walked into a township in the middle of the night. And there was a party going on, and there was a couple of guys and some scaly looking dudes, and they were giving me some very, very aggressive cakes, and wondering this white dude coming out of the forest of the night while we're partying, and I'm like, okay, but I have to get the music turned down. Yeah, you just imagine, right?
Scary.
So I walked in there, and I just saw there was an older guy sitting there, and I walked straight up to the older guy, speaking to him and starting to respectfully engage with him.
Clever move.
Guys started backing down. So there is a semblance of order in community. It's not like it's just a lawless wasteland. People do establish, power structures. But the thing is, like in the community that put on like yellow jackets, and then they walk the kids to school so that they don't get shot by the gangs. You get all kinds of these grassroots things. But the problem is, all the political parties say, funding, just not there to give the people the resources so that they can manage their policing. I mean, the police is disconnected from the communities. They operate on the national level. We should be electing our own sheriffs. We should have people from the town becoming police officers for the town.
Yeah, you sound like a reactionary.
This is good stuff, man. This is good. This is good stuff, guys.
Good stuff.
That is what I'm saying. Like, it's this whole notion that people think that we can't police ourselves. People are policing themselves already. They have these vigilante gangs. Now, I'm not the person that endorses vigilante gangs. Natural order of things.
Well, Christoff, a perfect example of that is in my neighborhood. We have a neighborhood watch, and they work amazing wonders. I mean, there was a guy just outside my house that got hit by a car. He was on a motorbike, got hit by a car. And I phoned the Tableview Neighborhood Watch, and within 5 minutes, bro, 5 minutes, they were there 10 minutes before the ambulance got there.
Yeah,
and they were there and all of that. So, yeah, you're right.
And I have respect for the reactionaries or the Templars, people, whatever you want to call it. But the whole approach of, bring God into your life and South Africa will change.
100%.
That is what no. Let me just finish here. I understand that whole notion. Believe that South Africa, with or without religion, people need to realize that fundamentally, in many ways, because of the incompetence of the government, turning into a libertarian society. Why do I say this? I'm saying this because there's so many people shit themselves. This is why I like the concept of self-determination and federalism and all that stuff of people, just going out and doing their own things independent from the government. I believe that people should become more self-reliant and we should basically, if the tax or anything like that, we should literally just use our taxes to cover our debts.
Yeah, look, I agree 100% with you, Christoff. I think this is the problem. Okay, this is the issue that I have with the sort of the whole idea, and I get the logic behind it, but I just don't believe that when something is broken, it's just going to fix itself from when it's already. I find it very difficult to believe. So, for example, the Cape Flats now is very much broken. Okay. So, for example, if you say, okay, all right, Cape Flats, here's the thing: we will now allow you to do whatever you need to do to sort yourselves out. I mean, who's the oaks that are gonna take over there? It's going to be the bad elements and the gangsters.
Not necessarily. Look, there are good people living in the flats, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. But the ones with the power are the gangsters, bro.
Yeah. But what you need to do is first of all, you need to get rid of all the drug laws, because unfortunately that is the economy.
I don't think so. I don't think again, it's this notion that if you legalize drugs in the Cape Flats, gangsterism will just disappear.
Gangsterism will still be there. Look. What I'm saying is, like it's just like the rhino horn trade. It's rhino horn trade. You will have farmers. Okay, you understand?
Sorry, I didn't get that. Can you say that again?
What I'm saying is, if you legalize the rhino horn trade, have farmers raising rhinos, because it would be economically viable to do so.
Of course, it's like the same as I don't see chicken.
Get the government out of the way. The government is causing the problem. The problem is because they make it illegal, it's now in the black market. And because
but it's not that, Christos. It's not the fact that it's illegal.
If someone is going to buy drugs legally, right, from clicks, if someone is going to buy a freaking line of coke from their pharmacy, right, that money is taxed, used to treat people who go and seek help. Okay,
absolutely, I agree 100% with that.
So the thing is, you need to treat the drug problem like a disease. But the thing is, if you treat it like a crime, you create criminal problems.
True.
I agree 100%. I'm not disputing whether drugs should be made legal or not. What I'm disputing is when people say things like, "Oh, legalize drugs and gangsterism."
Well, what do you do when you want to get rid of ISIS?
Well, I mean,
what was the first thing they hit?
Stop funding them.
Stop funding them. So first thing you need to do is you need to cut the cash flow off from the drugs.
That's it.
Off from the rhino horns. Because basically you think the rhino horns aren't involved. The rhino horns get traded for to the Chinese for the drugs that they use to make the tuk. So
look, I mean, the thing is.
No, you're missing my point here, Christoff. Russell knows what I'm on about, but go, Russell.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, the thing is, I think it's not just about money, gangs. There's not just a flow of commodities that gangs deal in. Gangs deal primarily in violence as well. So it's a lot about racketeering is actually the biggest one. They'll just control a neighbor first. Where you racketeer, you just basically force, you take over an area and you force people to pay you protection money. That's the old gangster way, taking over neighborhoods.
You got to understand, Christoff,
you don't need a commodity for. You just need pure fear and violence.
Yeah.
And you got to understand, gangsters are the government of the township, bro. They rule by fear and control.
But that is the thing. I mean, but what is that any different from a government that comes in also with guns and those things?
Well, it's not any different. But you see, you're not going to get rid of gangsterism by just saying to the Cape Flats, "Cool, drugs are legal. Do what you need to do."
What I'm saying is, you take a source of their funding and you remove a level of power that they have. I'm not saying that the solution will make gangsterism disappear, because I can tell you right now that gangs will just find another source of income. Yeah, they will find another source of income, but you will be eliminating
No, well, it'll just be an endless stream of eliminating sources of income and
but you have to understand now. What does a gang need to do? The drugs aren't around. What does a gang need to do to make more money?
Well, they need to
take more territory. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
More territory.
So which means you will end up with fewer gangs because there's less space to compete.
Yeah, okay, sure, I guess so.
Yeah, no, that is exactly what will happen. So basically, you will end up with maybe two, where you had 5 gangs, you will have 2 gangs. Sounds to me like you basically half the police work.
By doing what, Christoff? Sorry, I missed you.
By basically, so if you eliminate their sources of income one by one, right?
Mm-hmm.
To force them to have to work over a large space of territory, which means that you are going to have, if the true battle is going to be over territory, then you are basically making the gangs fewer by having them quote unquote merge or merge territory.
Look, Christoff, I'll tell you that, and I mean, I read a book called Light Through the Bars. Okay, it's written by a priest who spent 25 years in prisons in South Africa. I mean, I'm talking high security, I'm talking Pollsmoor and all of that. So he spent 25 years ministering to these prisoners. And he obviously, in those 25 years, developed a deep understanding of the psychological aspects of criminals and how they work and that sort of thing. So gangsters, I mean, I'm talking about murderers, 26ers or whatever it is, you know, a lot of really serious criminals. And what he found was that a lot of the criminals, first of all, came from broken families, which we've already discussed. A lot of them came from, the majority of the criminals actually came from families where there wasn't a father figure, okay, which is also, we've also kind of discussed that. And then also, hang on, and then what happened is he came to the conclusion that the only way that you can actually change a criminal or a gangster and stuff is through some sort of reform or in my case it would obviously be sort of a turn towards God, a realization of a different purpose in life and all of this. So you have to give the criminals a different purpose in life. It's not necessarily just about money and that sort of thing. It's a deep psychological thing, and you're not going to fix that by just saying it's like this is why I have this.
This is why Graham Joffrey, right? I was talking about the sport corruption on the Renegade Report.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about father figure. You know what could help these kids from going down that path?
What?
Sport.
Say that again. Sorry,
I've sport. Because
through sport,
when I was working for the SABC, people who would have these projects where they would do these camps for kids and have them play soccer and whatever. We'll just take them out, for the afternoon, and they would just play on an open field and just have the kids play soccer.
Mm-mm.
It refocuses their goals. It becomes like a father figure. Now, a coach is now by no replacement of a father figure. I'm saying it comes back to the community. It comes back to like doing it yourself.
Yeah, ethics, morality, discipline.
Yeah, I mean, the father figure has to appear one way or another, because if there's not a father, whether the father is in jail or the father has disappeared or the father is like, you can't bring that father back. So you're going to have to do something that, supplement that child's growth through giving them activities, teaching them skills. You're this some people would even go as far to say, like, yeah, there are child labor laws is the worst thing that has happened to this country, because kids used to be able to work for zakgeld. Which is kind of true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
I mean,
Well, look, I mean, the thing is, they can still work. They can be entrepreneurial, though. They can still work.
Yeah, but child labor laws are basically for adults. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't quote me on that. Too late.
Scott, that book that you're talking about, you want to share a link with us? I want to add it in my description.
Yeah, well, the book's called it's called Light Through the Bars.
But
by a priest called Father Babachan Arakatara.
Well, if you can, after the show, we can just add the link, and then I'll just want to add it in my description.
Yeah, but think about this, right? I mean, let's seriously discuss this, because now that I brought it up, because child labor is so controversial.
Yeah.
Some of these kids that get involved in these gangs, I wonder sometimes, do they get involved for the money or the power? Because I've read Gideon's article on it, and he says that most of the time they get involved because the history and all the stuff, like it's almost like the gang culture, that is the thing, and the whole lack of family. The family isn't there, so the gang becomes the family.
That's belonging to a group.
Exactly that, bro. It's exactly that.
Yeah. So maybe it's that. So I think what you need in the end is you need like an alternative family structure that can.
There's no such thing as an alternative family structure, but
I understand it's not going to replace the real thing, but what are you going to do when these kids don't have stable families?
I'll tell you what it is, Christoff. We need to stop. We need to stop as a society, okay? We need to stop this nonsense of aiming to be mediocre, okay? We need to aim to have families that stay together, a mother and a father that raise their children in a loving society. None of this, oh, it's okay, it's acceptable to do this, it's okay to do that. No. Stop aiming. Why are we as a society now sitting back and allowing our children and our society to crumble in front of our eyes just because of our selfish, own, self-centered notions that anything is okay, families
100%.
are okay, you can just, it's okay, you know what I blame for that? I blame liberalism. Fuck liberalism. That's what I blame for that, because liberalism is the one that promotes shit like, oh, we have to come up with a counter or an option or a substitute for the family. Not you, Christoff. Sorry, I'm getting.
I see you getting a little bit worked up.
I'm just saying.
Guys, he's getting reactionary.
It's good stuff. Let it out, Chana. I love it. I'm loving this.
Christoff. Look. I mean, 2 years ago, okay, I used to be a libertarian, and I used to identify as a classical liberal and stuff until I started becoming closer to God. Okay, I'm starting a family now. I'm married and everything. So my priorities are to make sure that I raise my children in a family that's a loving family with a mother and a father that support their children through thick and thin. Okay, and this is what we need to aim for as a society. We need to aim for it. We cannot allow ourselves to go down the road where we just say, oh, well, it's okay. What's okay? A Toyota Camry is okay, okay? I don't go for Toyota Camrys. I want to go for Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and nothing less. So I'm sorry.
Look, I get that, but I'm talking about you have to transition to that. Okay, if you really believe that strongly, then maybe the Israeli solution is the best. Maybe we should just pick up all these kids, take them all to a kibbutzim, and raise them there under professional parents.
There's nothing wrong with the kibbutz.
No, but what I'm saying is maybe we should just do that. Maybe we should just build one massive facility, have it privately run, because the government can't do fucking anything.
Yeah.
Well,
sounds like you're advocating a massive orphanage.
And basically have these kids be raised in a stable environment. But the thing is, that would be use of coercive force, but it's screw liberty. Screw.
Yeah, but I mean the thing is, that sounds very similar to what had happened. In England during the Industrial Revolution in the mid 19th century, with a lot of the a lot of families, and there was a lot of at the time, because they didn't know how to deal with this revolution. There's all this change, and what happened was, what you said was, there were like Oliver Twist, the workhouse, all right, with the kids. All right, that was a very common thing back in the mid 19th century. It sounds like you almost advocating like a similar sort of vibe, because that's what they had in London and Liverpool.
I'm not advocating for it.
Well, it just sounds like. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying
what I'm saying is like if you're going to look for a radical option.
Yeah, that is radical.
To bring people back to, to bring people back to a family unit. If you have a society that is like completely crazy and you want to basically isolate the children from this violence, because this is the priority, is to keep the children from dying. And Mpiyakhe, I think, dropped a message on the Facebook.
Yeah, you apologize for not joining.
Oh, shame. Anyway, the thing is, how are you going to stabilize the crisis? Because we can't have so many boys dying. I mean, never mind. I mean, people always talk about the violence against women and children. Have you guys checked the stats on boys?
No, not bad.
Well, guys, you know what? I had a podcast with Wesley, and similar stuff that we're talking about. And I said straightforward, every night when I greet my son, when I say goodnight to him, I tell him I love him. And when I drop him off at school, I tell him I love him. And Scott, you're right. You're 100%, bro. Love is the most powerful weapon, eh? You got to keep on telling your children, I love you, 100 times over. It creates that inside, what I said about morality. It builds up that morality in them. What I'm doing now, is my dad going to like it? You get what I'm saying, guys?
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Look, Jason, there's no doubt. Okay, this is the whole thing. Okay, and it's this weird sort of secular humanism in liberalism and stuff that has made me absolutely despise it. Okay,
yeah,
because it frames itself as this sort of rational look at freedom and liberty and all of this, but what it always ends up as is just a tyrannical state, and I have a hard time with it. I really, and I mean, it is something. And Dylan, you had Dylan on your show as well, right?
Yeah.
So Dylan, he basically used to identify as a neocon, so a neoconservative and all of that until he started. And again, I mean, I'm not. I hate sounding like this. I'm not coming to sort of preach the good word to you guys and stuff, but it was only until he sort of started coming closer to God that he started realizing that the shortcomings of liberalism, and there's no doubt that a family that remains together has an overwhelming chance of producing sort of good citizens than a family that is broken, that is abusive, and that there's no love in it. Okay, because that's the
Yeah.
Families are important.
Russell, carry on.
Family. You see, the thing is, family is the ultimate government, isn't it? All right.
Yes.
You see, the thing is, we governments say they need strong families, they need strong families, but actually they need weak families, because the weaker the families are, the stronger the government. Well, hands. So in other words, the less families take responsibility and govern well, all right, the more power it gives the state. It gives the state a mandate. We must do something about this. Get what I'm saying? So
yeah,
the state, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they've basically manufactured consent because the government or the people have given the government consent, and then the government can sort of act on their behalf, and it's almost like the government is, dealing with the sort of the greater good. Yeah, they're some sort of savior.
Say some type of savior, but actually, more government gets involved. The government can't solve family problems. Get what I'm saying?
And you've also got to understand government and society. Well, not government, but society and stuff. So the voters and everything is an extension of the family. So here's the thing: is you are going to, if you raise the family, okay, as a nuclear model, and you raise the family proper, okay, that is going to extend to a community, and that community is going to then extend to a society. And, wow.
Mpiyakhe's joined us.
What's going on there, Mpiyakhe?
Put your headphones on, Mpiyakhe.
Put your headphones, bro.
I'll have to edit this part out as well.
You got your work cut out.
It's alright, I've got 2 days to do this.
Jason will fix this in post.
I can hear you now. Perfect.
Mpiyakhe, welcome. Yeah, we got Mpiyakhe. Yay. Lovely, man. No, it's alright, Mpiyakhe. Don't worry, man.
Yeah, no, it's mine. I needed to say goodbye before he left. So yeah.
Yeah, he's got. You said Martin's going to Germany.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yeah.
Oh no. So is he cashing out?
No. He'll be back in a week. We just like being dramatic. We just like being dramatic.
Mpiyakhe, you missed a very interesting conversation. So can we Jason, do you mind if we sort of jump in where I finished up?
I was gonna say I thought you lost your train of thought, but if you can remember, go ahead, shoot, Scott.
No. So basically what I was talking about is that the family is essentially the sort of the micro idea of society, or the micro society on a very sort of micro scale. So if you expand the family to your community, so and it all starts with raising the family. So you raise the family in a loving society or a loving family and stuff, and that extends to the community, and the community by extension would be loving and kind and caring, and then that would expand to the society and stuff, and that society would also expand. But it's very important while that's expanding to still maintain the nucleus, okay, so the where it started and stuff. So it's very important to maintain that, if you don't manage to maintain that sort of core where it came from, the expansion or the society and stuff is going to crumble. And there's no doubt about that. I mean, people have studied this. People much smarter than me have studied this, and they have come to the exact same conclusions. And I think that the base of our problems and the base of the issues in South Africa and in the townships and in the Cape Flats with the gangsterism and all of that, and also all across South Africa, is the problem with the family, the family unit as a whole.
On a less serious note, Scott, are you intending to raise your children in capitalist or communist?
I'm going to raise my children Catholic. That's what I'm going to raise.
Catholic. Okay, cool. So because if you
raise them reactionary.
Because if you're going to raise them, communist, they do all the chores for free.
Can I just say something, gents?
Go ahead.
If you don't mind. So I just wanted to say on what Scott was saying, even though I didn't catch all of it. I just wanted to say one thing is that. At the end of the day, like I with Scott 100%, family is the main sort of like a institution. Is the basic, is the smallest possible institution in terms of building up society. But okay, some might even argue that it's property rights or something like that. But I think you can make the case that in terms of if you look away at if you look away from the individual for a moment and just look at in terms of where the smallest possible group of individuals in society, I think that would be the family, and that's why you need healthy families. But you will never get healthy families without healthy individuals who are able to make those choices. So that's the only point I wanted to make. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all everything starts with individuals. Okay, we all know that, we all agree with that and stuff. Everything starts with an individual, but you know, we unfortunately we don't. We all sort of interact with each other. We all have to live with each other and all of that. So it's all. Yes, it's all fair and well saying, yes, we're all individuals and all of that, but we do sort of interact with each other. We have to learn to live with each other, and it's better and easier to live with each other when everyone's a nice individual.
100.
You know what I mean?
100%.
So there's something I want to pick your brains with. So I am working on something that I haven't confirmed the release date yet because I'm filming a couple of other things in between as well.
To confess to a crime.
No, I'm not confessing to a crime. Basically, there's a couple of things happening because of this whole government going full communist. The things that I've been observing is all the secessionists. That I don't know if you guys have noticed the different people who are trying their hand on self-determination. I've sprung up. The one is USAF. Basically, they already declared their territory where they're going to set up shop. They've got their own cryptocurrency. Their groot trek to that location, apparently.
Okay, well, look, I mean, the thing is, people when they see the walls closing in, they make these type of decisions. What people do.
Then you've got AfriForum. AfriForum is setting up a alternative school network of werk or network of work. Is Ankerdorpe, which they basically.
Small correction. I think it's Solidarity who's doing it.
No. Solidarity and AfriForum are not two separate units. Not in my estimation. Not as far as I know.
Well. Yeah.
I think they are. Maybe a name, but I don't think. I think they coordinate on many levels.
I can actually legitimately confirm that because I got a phone call from AfriForum and the other day, and because AfriForum, and it showed up as Solidarity.
Okay. A lot of people like what the left do is they put AfriForum in the same box as the Zuidlanders for some reason.
Yeah.
Which they're not.
No, they're not.
Which they're not, but there are some right wing. I don't really know if I should call them right wing because center authoritarian in a way. Because
no, not authoritarian.
No. The reason why I'm saying this is if you're going to look at the leadership structures. I think the most democratic one is the Volksraad. That one gets elected. A lot of these groupings, they've got a top cop, and that top cop is the top cop. And they've got a guy that's underneath them. I mean, like you've got different groups.
Wait, Christoff, you're not talking about specifically about AfriForum. You're just talking about these sort of right-wing movements.
What I'm talking about is AfriForum doesn't follow the same strategy, right? AfriForum, I wouldn't say AfriForum is a racist organization either, but there are some of them that are lumped in with AfriForum. All different agendas and strategies. For instance, Zuidlander strategy is evacuation.
Definitely, yeah. We've seen there's lots of YouTube videos, yeah.
Yeah, the Boerelegioen strategy is fortification and like holding the ground.
I mean, Saitlanders are apocalypse. They're growing their own plants and they got their buckies ready and their caravans ready.
But here's the funny thing. I had a discussion with one of the guys when I was filming me that what happened was the Boerelegioen actually swung in and spoke to the Saitlanders and said to them their strategy is going to get them all killed in a total anarchic situation, and they completely changed their whole playbook in the last 2 months. Or not last 2 months, the last couple of, ever since the EWC thing became a thing, they had to revamp their whole thing. Yeah. So I don't really know. We don't really know how big they is or what they do. And
yeah, I agree. I stopped watching now.
I speak under correction. There's a lot of smoke mirrors being played. They need to if the intent of what they're trying to do is what they're trying to do. But there was one guy arrested 2 weeks ago in Wellington, who he was involved with, but apparently he had. Yeah?
So sorry, Christoff. Why are we talking about these right-wing weird oaks and stuff?
I'm talking about these things because about self-determination, and the people who are talking about it is what's his name, Peter Mulder. He brought it up in a speech to Parliament. He wants to speak to Cyril Ramaphosa
from Freedom Front.
Apparently, the Constitution has a provision that basically says that self-determination legislation needs to be developed.
Yeah,
it does have that mechanism.
You've got these groups who are claiming territory. This is why it's relevant. They're claiming territory. This is serious as a heart attack.
Well, while we're on the EFRI Forum, they've been to the States already. Now with Boris being the new Prime Minister, do you think they're gonna go make a turn by Boris?
I think Boris is a good option. I would email Boris, to be honest. Because
email Boris. Oh, okay.
Boris on the Renegade Report.
No, Johnson. Boris Johnson.
Yeah. Such a British name, that Boris.
Boris.
Yeah, no.
In case you didn't, a lot of English people have forgotten that the English are actually Germans.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
are
is
actually Germans, so that Boris shouldn't be a difficult, a strange name.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Actually, that's true, Russell.
Brought up these people because there are all kinds of different strategies out there. And today on the ZACP discussion, someone told me that ZACP doesn't have for total and complete economic annihilation, which is pending. I know Jason is putting a Jacob Zuma throat clearing there.
I'm listening, dude. I'm listening. You go ahead. I'm listening.
No, but seriously, we do not have like we're talking about councillors and running for elections and stuff like that. And yes, we are a political party who works with the Free Market Foundation, and we've got a lot of people in the different groups who are advocating and trying to warn the government, please don't kill us all. But guys, are we going to immigrate?
I'm not sure if I take your point about like we must address the needs of of people as they arise.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is we need to organize in the real world and physical things that will protect us from death.
Exactly, but I think that might be a job for separate civil society organizations, because I don't know, like it's obviously a good idea for a political party to do some of these things, but only if it's for the purposes of support. But I don't know, like it's a hard. I think it's important to have separate organizations doing different things in the same way that Solidarity and AfriForum are separate organizations, even though they work with each other a lot.
Well, why not? Why wouldn't it be a better option for political parties to facilitate these things, or even not just facilitate them, but to even just sort of create the environment for these sort of things to happen, or to fight for those sort of things to happen, and then let private individuals and private companies then take over.
Yeah. Look, I think maybe the market will solve it one way or another. I don't know, but what I'm saying is these discussions need to be had, because I'm not saying that there will be a civil war. What I'm saying is chaos is going to erupt one way or another. To be prepared.
We were talking about how it's going to happen, the prelude to it earlier.
We were talking about how it's just going to happen. And there's a lot of people in this country that I do care for. Not a person that see myself that have any hate towards anyone. I mean, I was attacked today, and a random guy that I met at the garage that I've talked to every day saved me.
Which is awesome.
Has this capacity of being open and friendly, and which is but the thing is just like, it's not the same as what the media depicts it. And these guys, which I referred to earlier, yes, I understand their fears. I understand why they're doing what they're doing. They're just kicking the survival instincts is kicking in, and they're doing what they need to do. But when we look at the whole picture of South Africa, realize that we're fucked. The government is failing right in front of our eyes, organizing on the ground level to protect ourselves and to survive.
You see, Christoff, this is where I actually kind of align myself with the a little bit more with the anarchists and the sort of ANCAPs out there, in that good. If we're fucked, good. I'm all for that. That's pretty much, because here's the thing. Okay.
Now you said just like Ramonia.
No. I mean, look, I have an affinity for certain aspects of anarchy, or anarchism, but I don't believe that anarchy is sustainable and stuff. So I say my logic is, sure, we are fucked. This country, if things carry on this trajectory, the ANC will rip this country apart. And I say good, okay, because here's the thing: there's no hope in hell that we are going to be able to democracy our way out of this problem that we're in South Africa.
You can't vote our way out of it. Not a chance.
There is no chance, guys. When have you ever been able to vote yourself out of socialism?
Never.
Never, ever, ever, ever.
I would like to hear Mpiyakhe's
Great Britain under Thatcher. They voted.
Yeah, but not.
Say that again, Mpiyakhe. I didn't hear that. Sorry.
Britain under Thatcher.
Britain under Thatcher.
Yes.
Yeah, not. I wouldn't quite say that Britain had gone. Britain in the late 70s had gone full Marxist communist to the point that we're getting ourselves here. Or Cuba went to, or Venezuela went to, is gone, or I don't think. Yeah, look, there was a heavy socialist that Labour Party went berserk in the late 70s, but I don't think it got to those type of the socialism that's staring us down the barrel. That we're staring down the barrel. I don't think that was the situation in Britain.
We were looking at historical references, right? We're looking at historical reference to the consequence of what could happen to us. And this is why I sound like an alarmist when I talk about these things, because when I look at this and I think to myself,
you're not an alarmist.
When I look at this and I think to myself, because I come from an agricultural background and I know how much South African farmers produce. Do you know that South African farmers produce more per hectare than anyone in the Southern Hemisphere? This is why Ampu Harvest Festival, to learn from our farmers. Okay, guys got skills, right?
Yeah.
What the numbers are right now, way back I checked the numbers, way back. But I remember at the time the farmers were producing, one farmer would produce for 1,500 people a day. And it was when I think we had 50,000 of them.
Sure.
So is if you look at the maize shortage they have in Zimbabwe right now, just because of a little bit of a market dip in maize production, it is actually fueling the starvation right now. And just a little tweak in the economics and everybody's starved, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, do you mind if I respond to that?
Yes.
So I would say that in Zimbabwe, their problem is that they can't, it's not like, not producing not producing domestically your own food is a symptom rather than a cause. So what I mean by that is a symptom of a lack of property rights, which has led to farmers fleeing. Okay, fair enough.
Definitely.
But and then the thing that really hit them was the fact that they didn't have foreign currency in order to make imports, to do imports in their country.
Yeah, but
well, the reason why they didn't have foreign currency, is they lost their productive capacity.
Yeah,
if you can't produce anything, you can't gain. You can't get anything. You can't.
It's almost a nuanced point that I'm trying to make. The point is being that every farm could shut down tomorrow in South Africa would still be able to feed itself. But if it starts shutting down because the property rights are no longer secure, then we might not be able to feed ourselves. That's the point.
Yes, I get what you're saying. Absolutely, I get absolutely. I get what you're saying. 100%.
Yeah. So if they go with a pen stroke, and they say tomorrow, let's say the easiest way for them to take the property would literally be and say that all the land belongs to the state. And just by one pen stroke, nobody has property rights. Okay, what then?
Then you go full. Then it's full sort of communist utopia, and then there's no seeing your way out of that. I'm sorry,
but one thing that really gives me hope is I'm not sure to what extent the South African government can enforce its will once it gets itself out of the.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
I'm saying today, I'm not sure to what extent the South African government can enforce its will within South Africa if it chooses to leave the international system and pursue socialism.
I see what you're saying. In other words, are you saying that the ruling party is concerned about its international image, or?
So what I mean by that is that. We are attracting investment and taxes and all of those things because it's not because these companies trust the South African government that it can enforce its own laws. It's because the countries that these companies are investing from that the South African that they should respect the laws of South Africa. And so I'm not sure how strong our security apparatus is if the government can really enforce its will within its own borders.
Yeah, okay, that's also true. So basically inefficiency that will work in our favor or something like,
Yes, I think it might, because I think for example the SANDF was given a clap by the Sutus in 1998. I mean it was much stronger than it is now. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, the thing is, like I said earlier, like there are different balances of forces at play. Really know how they go, but the thing is, well, what if the government turns over to mob violence? Well, what if they outsource their violence to the criminal elements that we know work with the government many times?
I think certain pilots that we all know will wipe them out.
It's quite funny.
But that's easy to do.
As long as I can take one of his FN, I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, but seriously though, I mean, like, how would you not? I mean, how would we know? Because you can't defend yourself against the criminals; they lock you up. They don't. If you're a law-abiding citizen who live in a house and have a license to a gun, and you shoot someone that it enters your property, you go to jail. And so, I mean, they can shoot someone and they don't go to jail, but
that's the double standards that comes in.
For some reason, law-abiding This is discrimination against the law-abiding citizen.
Exactly, and I think that's the key: law-abiding. Once we choose to not abide to the law, I think that's when we'll start being serious. Yeah.
This is when I sat down, guys. When I was talking to the guys at UCF, I said to them, guys, I think you guys are all missing the point. There are people from all tribes who are suffering under socialism. Some of them don't know it's the socialism yet, but the ones that do don't like it and they want out. And this is what I've been trying to tell them. I've been telling them, look, the way that you guys are looking at this whole problem, I understand that you want to preserve your culture. I understand your language is my language. My culture is your culture. I understand you want to preserve this, and this country collapsing puts it under threat. I understand it. I understand that the farmers are getting killed. These things. But you guys have to understand that on the other side of the spectrum, not the political spectrum, but on the other side of, you know, different groups or whatever you want to call it, that want to make this work. There are people down here who are refugees who fled socialism. To sit around a table and say, all right, look, we know what's coming. Prepare, be ready, be strong, and thrive. That's basically what I think we need to do. Because we can talk all politics, we could talk about trying to change the ANC. They're not going to. We can, I mean, Mpiyakhe the other day suggested that we just all outsource and move to Mauritius, you know, like fucking
Mauritius.
What are going to do in Mauritius, eh?
I think that's actually... No, I think you wouldn't be bored. I think what's going to happen to countries like Mauritius that are posing benefits from South Africa's collapse is that they'll get massive transfers of capital from South Africa. So they'll get things like, you know, broadband, the ability, the skills that we have in building roads, in building ports, in building all of these things. They're the backbone of any economy, and these countries will become much more attractive.
Yeah, but they must have clearly marked on the application if you're a communist or not, and don't accept any communists.
You're gonna be the Britain of Africa.
Let's get enough of us all together. We just go and storm, get like 200,000-300,000 of us. We can probably take over Mauritius.
Honestly, let's do that. I feel like I feel like, you know what? For me, moving to a country like Mauritius is much easier than trying to defend whatever I have here. Like as much as I love this country, like, you know what? It's going to take a toll if we try to defend ourselves. I mean, sure, maybe it's worth it, but I just thought I'm not sure if I'm up for it. To be honest.
But guys. I understand this. I understand this fully. I understand fully that everybody, you know, wants to pack up and go. And you know what? Every day I ask myself, shouldn't I go as well? Am I not going to have a better future somewhere else? Because yes, there are opportunities overseas, and I can go now. The window is closing.
Yeah, but it's not that easy. Carry on.
I'm thinking to myself, the question comes up: is this country worth fighting for? Freedoms is the freedoms that in 1994 is the values of the new South Africa, the one that we dreamed about, the one that was sold to us but we didn't get. Dream really dead.
And we saw that South Africa in 1995. We saw it. It happened. We experienced
South Africa wanted. Like, if you look at the tribute that was made to Johnny Clegg, that video, that The Crossing, right? Wants this, bro. We want that peace.
No, we do.
By a minority. These do not have the full support of everybody in this country. Like, the majority of people who are eligible to vote don't vote.
Let's look at the stats quickly. How many Facebook users do you think there is in South Africa at the moment? That's about 60 million. I looked it up the other day. How many people actually voted in the last elections now? Out of 25 million registered, but how many actually voted?
It was about 17
million. So what does that tell you, guys? And Christoff, you spoke to me about this in the last podcast I had with you.
Yeah.
We just need to get hold of the other guys that didn't vote. We need to convince the other guys. How do we do that?
Well, you've got to ask yourself, why are they disenfranchised? Why are they not voting?
Exactly. Why are they not voting?
Well, look, I mean, the thing is, there was a survey done by the IRR that said that 60% of all South Africans would gladly give up all political rights, not vote, not eligible for political rights, in favor of a job prospects, and basic low crime, a job, and general basic sort of basic services. You know what I mean?
100%.
Just
that's the same
do
thing.
the basics for us. Do the basics for us. Do the basics for us, and we'll just be happy. Don't worry. We're not cared about voting. That's a scary stat.
And all these elections. I mean, did you guys watch that documentary that came on Netflix the other night? The Great Hack.
Yeah.
It works in countries like in the States, in the UK, but something like that's not going to work in South Africa. So we need to go in the ground. We need to go on the ground.
Well, I think that's a very nefarious thing. Yeah, sorry, Mpiyakhe.
So okay. I was going to say, I was reading an interesting article on Wired. Let me just quickly share it. So it tells the story of how Italy's 5-star movement built itself up, which was a very apathetic society, and then they managed to get all of these different kinds of people together. And it's really quite interesting how they use technology to accomplish it. And it was all the vision of one man, some dude called Casaligio, who is an absolute legend in the internet and web community. Mm-hmm. And he was able to do this because he understood how networks work in a programming sense, and then and a mathematical sense, and then use that understanding to apply it to a society like Italy using the internet. So it's quite interesting. Yeah.
Mpiyakhe, did you watch that documentary, The Great Hack?
No, I didn't see it. No.
Do yourself a favor. It's on Netflix. It came out now 2 days ago. The Great Hack. You got to watch it. It's awesome. It's mind blowing.
So what you're saying, we should build an electronic system of government.
But it's not going to work in South Africa. It's not.
I agree with you, Jason. But
it's not going to work.
We can.
I think we can also build some of the in social media, for example, how they got people engaged. I think we can take lessons from that. In as much as we can't get everyone fully online, voting all the time and all of that, but a lot of people are on social media, and I think we can learn from some of the tactics used by this 5-star movement to get engagement. True. I mean, ideologically, they are completely blank. Like they didn't have any ideology. They just said, okay, anyone who doesn't like what's happening in the country right now, join our movement, and we'll show these people that we are fed up. That's what they did.
Yeah. So here's this one thing.
Can I just add to that, Jason? You mind if I?
Scott, go ahead.
All right.
Scott.
Yeah,
go.
Oh, sorry, I just cut off there for a second. Okay. So what we're talking about now about building this sort of electronic government or whatever. I don't quite follow it. I'm a techno peasant. So
watch the Great Hack and you'll understand.
So basically what I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, is that we want to sort of get our message across via the internet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I right on saying that?
Yeah, it's got to do with advertising. It's basically influencing the people on different thoughts.
Okay. So basically, we need to defeat the current narrative, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The thing is, the assumption that we're making is that our narrative is the narrative that is the easy sell, and I disagree. I disagree that our narrative is the easy sell. I think our narrative is the most difficult one to sell. I think socialism and communism is easy sell. So I don't think listen to the spanner that I'm throwing in the works over here. I don't even think getting across and getting to as many people as possible is even going to change people's minds.
I disagree.
Yeah, but not with socialism. Not with the current narrative, like you're saying. I'm saying capitalism. Use that narrative of capitalism. Explain it to people. I mean, Christoff, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. Telling them about the street vendor, the oak out there that's selling the fruit and vegetables.
Like what I do is I talk politics to randoms, like all the time. Like I would like be in a queue, or I would be like go about my day, and I would bump into a complete stranger. Yes, you can imagine I'm fun at parties.
That narrative needs to change. Yeah.
So what happens is, I would just speak to a random person on the street, and I would find myself the list.
Yeah.
And all you need to do is you need to ask the right questions, and you would actually be very surprised how many people would actually proclaim their political allegiance to you in the presence, and you can get people to think about different things. And I think I picked up from my grandfather. My grandfather was always speaking to everybody about, you know, things that are happening in the country and all that kind of thing, making the average person on the street care about what is happening and what is happening in the news, because a lot of people don't. They worry about taking care of their families, but you may not be interested in politics, but politics is surely interested in you.
Yeah, but you see, Christoff, I agree 100%. But what you again, and this is the issue that I had with the ZACP, is that you're looking at it from an economic perspective. So you're looking at it like capitalism. Capitalism is an economic model, okay? It's not a social model, okay? It's got no place for social models and social aspects and stuff, whereas socialism is all about social models and how people, you know, deal with it and stuff. And socialism is an easy sell to the people that just want to be nice people, and everyone wants to be a nice person. So it's easy to twist the narrative where socialism does really well.
But look,
to make it sound like to make it sound like socialism is just trying to be nice, and capitalism is just, you know, all about, you know, making money and all of that. And everyone likes making money. There's no person that doesn't. So that would be an easy sell for it. But when you look at socialism from if you're talking to the average person on the street about socialism, they will definitely like socialism more than they would like something like capitalism.
I think it depends on the moral fiber of most South Africans. For me, it's still an open question. What's the moral character of South Africans?
It's accepting freebies. But that's the thing. People just expect freebies the whole time. Free house, free hampers, and once you're in that position, you don't want to do anything else. You know, you need to.
I will tell you this. I will tell you this, Jason. Sorry if I'm interrupting.
No, go ahead.
And me and Mpiyakhe actually spoke about this when he came on our podcast. It's not that South Africans necessarily want handouts and that sort of thing. You know, African culture, okay, as a whole, is actually aggressively capitalist. Okay, they really are. Okay, but the government and the communists over the part, just the SACP, just the South African Communist Party, only them, because they're the oaks pulling all the strings. They've done such a good job at conditioning South African minds to go counter their culture. And this ties in with what Mpiyakhe said, the moral fiber of South Africa. The moral fiber of South Africa is on the process now of being totally ripped apart. We need to... black African people need to go back to their capitalist nature and their capitalist culture. That's why I told every time Mpiyakhe puts something about Zulu this, Zulu that, or whatever on Facebook, not that he's a Zulu nationalist or whatever, I say, I support that 100%. Okay? Yeah. Because it's better than communism, and it's better than what government has done such a good job.
I agree with you in layman terms. In layman's terms, I agree with you, Scott, because back in the old days, in the Zulu tribes, they learned how to deal with cows and sell their cows and lobola and that. So 100%, you're right. There was a capitalist ideology there in the Zulu days. 100%, agree with you.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, but then I would just say that for me, it's like I like being proud of your culture is there's nothing wrong with that. That's why I celebrate organizations like AfriForum, and I think Zulus should be more proud of their culture as well. Like especially understand what their history really is, how complex it really is, how it's not this one narrow narrative that we've been fed all our lives. Like it's much more complex than what we understand. And for me, like this question of morality, I think it's I anecdotally, like from talking just to people, like I see both sides. Like I see people who tend to be younger, who have this sense of entitlement, and then you talk to people who are also young, but they just happen to have grown up with in families with two parents, for example.
Yeah.
And these people tend to be more. They have a sense of self responsibility. And I would just say that saving South Africa will not just take getting back the culture of individualism or inculcating that culture among Black South Africans. I think it also has to return to white South Africans, because they keep following these international trends of rejecting their hard-won values of liberalism. And I think by doing that, they are providing a bad example to everyone else, because everyone wants to be as rich as the West, even when they don't admit it.
Fully
I think
agree.
what is happening is you've got white middle class kids who are looking at the inequalities that are in South Africa. They see that they're living in like in the pool of privilege.
Yeah,
they see the privilege and acknowledge the privilege that they have. If we want to go down that road, so they are on board with the socialism. They are like they're like in there, and they're like yes, we need to address this.
Well, socialism is envy. That's the problem.
Because the farmers are out in the rural areas, and this is not going to affect me.
Yeah. If you are a young white person and you happen to think of yourself as privileged because your family, you come from money, which is fair enough. You are privileged because you grew up with money. If you are that kind of person, the best way you can help South Africa is tell the government to make it easy for you to allow you to invest in the townships, in the former homelands. That's how you fix the problem. You don't fix the problem by telling people that, oh, you need to be taken care of, you can never do anything for yourself. You are just destroying people even more. You are actually you're actually part of the problem that those people have to face. You're not actually, even though you may feel guilty, but yeah.
I mean, we were talking about
facilitated problem.
Yeah, but we were talking about the gangsters earlier, right? Imagine if the government had just its responsibility of rule of law under control. How much money will flow into the townships?
Sure.
Like how many people will start developing those schools and start developing like everything there.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah,
100%.
No, look, I mean, the thing is, it's got to be some sort of incentive. I mean, the thing is, myself and Scott lived in. You talked about the homelands. Myself and Scott, we lived in Transkei. The old Trans was when it was a homeland.
Oh yeah.
And we stayed in Optata, and in the late 80s, the place was humming. And I've heard similar things about Maputo, Tswana, and these other places as well. Like I think Mpiyakhe and these towns were doing really, really well, and now they're absolutely
the six guy the six guy because
this guy did very well.
I just wanted to mention it because the heroes there were my current bosses, like at the organization I work for, because they actually successfully lobbied the government to change their policies to become more free market, more capitalist.
You know what is an interesting thing?
There was a lot of money that flowed into those areas, factories. There was employment. You know, people didn't have to. Had it continued, had there been people living in Transkei and Ciskei wouldn't have to have travelled all the way to Johannesburg and Cape Town to get jobs.
Yeah, true.
You know?
True. Yeah.
You know what's interesting about myself and Russell living in Transkei and all of that is that we've often said this. When we lived we only lived in the Transkei for probably 5 years or something. 3 years or whatever.
Yeah.
So in those 3 years, we've often spoken about this, myself and Russell, and we actually realized that those 3 years was the only 3 years that we lived in like the freest society we've ever lived in.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very free. I mean,
wow.
There was no. I tell you what, it was actually. We came from. I was a bit older than Scott, so I remember we came from the Lowveld of the old Transvaal. Bit of a harsh sort of environment. But when you came to Transkei, it was a lot friendlier. People. One of the things that I noticed about the Transkei was the overall happiness across all race.
There was no segregation, guys. This is in the 80s.
No, there's no segregation.
There was
no segregation.
Would you guys say?
Were
Oh, sorry, guys. I have a question for both of you, if you don't mind. So I just wanted to ask you guys: would you say that they were following more of like the Rwanda, Singapore model? Would that be fair?
I don't think so. I think there was the opportunity to do that. There was that opportunity. There was a lot of things that could have been done in Transkei. They didn't have very effective leadership in Transkei. In the 70s, they had K.D. Mapanzima, who was a nice guy, but he was just too much of a thief, and he didn't have enough of vision for the Transkei. I mean, Transkei has the best coastline for tourism. I mean, Garden Route can kiss my ass. All right, Port St. John's and these places. Neisner's got nothing on port and wilderness places. I can tell you that now. There was a lot of tourism could have been better developed, but he had the leadership of that Bantustan, had a bit of vision. But Tanzima didn't, and then he was kicked out, and then Holomisa ruled like a little fiefdom there, and it didn't work out nice and neat and tidily how it could have. But the opportunity was there to make a Rwanda, Singapore type. The opportunity was there, I would say, from about the early 80s to mid 80s. But I think it's just a disaster now. But the opportunity was definitely there.
Yeah.
They had investment coming in from all over the world. They had Taiwanese companies setting up chopsticks factories there in Mthatha. You had all sorts of things. I'm trying to think. They developed a Eskom. Actually started to develop a subsidiary of themselves called Tesco, which was Transkei Electricity Supply, and they built a hydroelectric power plant on quite close to the Wild Coast at Collywobbles, which was a very good hydroelectric plant. I don't know what happened to that plant, whether it's still going. I hope. But there was a lot of good stuff happening. They built agricultural schemes, water schemes. There are water troughs that they built for agriculture. For their Kabata, great place. All sorts of water troughs to transport water to farmers in the area. So there was stuff happening.
But they were a free society. So they were a free society.
Look, like I said, the apartheid government pumped a lot of money into Transkei, but it didn't have the effective leadership to make things happen. You know what? There was
the laws. So the apartheid laws weren't applied in the Bantustan.
No, they weren't applied there. We went to multiracial schools. There was no group areas. Public spaces weren't separated. There was zero segregation.
It legitimately felt like a different country. Well, it was technically, but it really felt like we were in just a completely different. And it's true what Russell says. I mean, look, I was probably 7 or 8 years old at the time, so I vividly remember it and stuff, or vaguely remember it. But I do clearly remember it was a happy place. It was really a happy place, and there was no. I mean, at 7 or 8 years old, we're talking about the 80s, bro. The 80s, okay? How old are you, Jason?
44.
44. Okay, so you clearly remember the 80s. Did you ever, as a child, did you ever go to black kids' children parties?
I did. Yes, I did. I mean, I had
at
friends.
School, at school?
No, not at school, but like neighbors. Okay. Yeah, like.
Okay. Well, it was a very, very common occurrence and stuff for us to go to, like, have multiracial or parties and all that, and it was just unheard of in South Africa. It was just totally unheard of, you know, especially in the 80s.
I wonder if what would have happened if the Bob raid succeeded.
Botswana.
But people forget in 1990, Botswana was the 7th largest economy in Africa.
But think about this, right? So the AWB and the freaking Volksfront went in there, Mos. Fort Mangope.
Ah, yeah.
What was his name?
I remember that too.
Yes. But the ANC was like stoking tensions in there.
Yeah, they were.
It was almost like a break-off, apparently, from the military. Constant Viljoen apparently wanted to war in there. What would have happened? Because then there would have been like an alliance or a freaking agreement between them and the Bob government, and then South Africa, and then you would have had that as an independent state in South Africa.
Guys, I want to, Jason.
Yes.
Sorry. Finish up, Christoff. Sorry, I interrupted you.
I'm just like wondering. The reason why I'm saying this, what would you guys think would have happened if when democracy came, the homelands were kept intact?
I was thinking the same. Yeah. What's Transkei like today?
I think it would vary. The results would vary. Some of them would be like comparable to the West African countries. I mean, some of them would be maybe some of the best, hopefully. So I think it would really vary. It would depend on what kind of ideas they pursued.
And what kind of government do you guys think the AWB and the Bob government would have formed?
Christoff, you know what type of government would be? Christian fascism.
Christian fascism.
Something along those lines, you know, moral fascism, you know, or like something like that.
It could have been like the Natalia. I think it could be something close to that if you go on historical records. And then the British could have just came in and chased them out.
Yeah, Jason, can I just talk very briefly, because we're talking about these independent states and stuff and all of that.
I'm listening.
I want to ask, and it's kind of directed at Christoff and Mpiyakhe mostly. What do you guys think of? Because and I don't know how liberal you are, Jason, and stuff, but I know that Christoff and Mpiyakhe are raging liberals. But I'm just joking. I'm just teasing, guys. But what do you guys think? Do you think South Africa as a country is a legitimate country, or it should be separated?
Sure. It's not going to work.
Separated, divided up. Separate. This is the wrong word.
I think.
Yeah, go ahead, Mclaren.
I think we already see societies are complex entities, and the idea that we can sort of choose to create a society from a central source, from sort of top down, I think it's always going to fail. So I think what you should do is just say give sovereignty to the individual and let spontaneous order do its thing.
That's a reason.
So if the spontaneous order is for secession, then what?
Then that's what should happen. Why not?
Okay,
cool. What I'm saying. Which spot on the map do you guys desire? Let's get the phone lines together. Let's have a little spotsy for the Templars. We can have like a place. No, really. I'm serious. I will help put in the cornerstone for the Great Temple. like whatever. Like let's go somewhere in the middle of the Karoo where nobody will bother us.
Temple.
I just
basically the question I've got.
I think we could certainly do that, Christoff. I mean, I think it's a brilliant idea. Just buy a farm somewhere and then sell shares in the farm. Like
sure.
And defend it.
Libertarian, and defend it.
I would totally buy into it. Like I would say, like
a libertarian version of Aranya.
Totally. Totally. Like, I mean, if all these other guys are going to do it, and we want to create a new cis guy, why the fuck not?
But that's not very libertarian, though, is it?
No. Look, if the government is going to threaten to take our property.
No, but I mean, hey, what about my open borders, guys? I mean,
no. But look, we're just keeping the communists out. All we do is we ask them if profit is a good thing or a bad thing for society, and if they say no, we show them the door.
Yeah, but we all know it's not going to work because the left is going to get stuck in, and small trolls are going to come out.
The moment someone starts quoting from Marx, we just we deport them.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a fascinating thing, this whole secession vibe and all of that, because obviously, I mean, I've actually been to quite a few meetings with the K Party and all of that, and I really do support them and stuff. But it's true what you said, like what Mpiyakhe said and what you said, Christoff. Like, what part of the map? Like, what do you? I guess it's literally just down to
what is the most convenient and is going to give us the most benefit. We just need to pick one.
Well, guys, we're talking about 122 hectares. And of it,
we can buy as much. Look, because of the EWC, the property prices are worthless right now. It's the best time to buy.
Not in Sea Point.
No, don't buy there.
It's expensive in Sea Point.
Like, buy somewhere on the coast so we can get U.S. naval air support, bro.
Yeah,
but see, Mpiyakhe agrees with me. We can get
Mpiyakhe, that's the anarchist in Mpiyakhe agreeing with you.
As you can notice, my username is Agoritut. And so, like, it's what Christoff is talking about now is a pure algorithm. I'm 100% with him. Like, you can decide your own fate if you're serious about it.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. Like, why can't we just crowdfund this shit? Like do what these other guys are doing. I mean, we don't have to be at like they could have their ideas if they want to create a folk start, by all means.
Sure.
But let's create our own value system. We have the holy temple for the Templars, and and we freaking whatever, man. We can create.
I totally agree with you guys on that. As 100%, I'm with you.
That way, Scott and his ilk can keep our society from becoming too degenerate.
Sure.
No, you guys, your societies will just frot away and become degenerate, and my societies will flourish.
But how are you going to protect that society?
Yeah, last society standing.
The society is, look, what we do is we make the religious people the warrior caste. They're not allowed to sit in government, okay? But they basically the police and the military, okay? Because there's no atheists in a foxhole.
Yeah,
so basically what you do is you're almost like the Imperium in Warhammer, where you separate the Astartes from the
but Scott, here's the thing, you've got the society now, okay, and we're flourishing and capitalism is going strong. What about the rest? What about the rest of the country once socialism really takes over? Once the rand loses value, what's going to happen then? Where's everybody going to go then?
And we thrive because we're living on the gold standard.
But let's think reality here. What's going to happen then? When a loaf of bread is going to cost $1,000.
Okay, a loaf of bread may cost $100, but if you are able to produce something that you can trade on the coast, you will still be able to import bread.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm saying.
Theoretically, yes. Theoretically,
yes. So all we need to do is we concentrate the skills resources in that area. We could build a Silicon Valley there. We could make robots.
Yeah, that's 100%. Yeah,
sure. It's deep, guys.
Yeah. There are a couple of how can I put it? Rabbits we can pull out the hat. You know, it's not quite. The world's a bit different to what it was 50 odd years ago. You know what I mean? The world's a smaller place. It's a faster place. Boundaries and locations aren't as important as they were maybe years ago. So there are a couple of strings you can pull.
Yeah, but it could be like a Hong Kong, like in front of China, or the last bastion of the free market in Africa, whatever.
Yeah.
What you wanna do, but the thing for me is there's a lot of people that can't flee this shit. So we're either gonna leave them behind and have them die, and some of these people are gonna be our family members, or we're going to save them.
Yeah, that's my whole major conundrum, which I just and I believe.
What I'm saying. Like yes, we can run, we could talk all these things. Like no, South Africa is not worth saving, and then these are our family we're talking about, people.
Yeah, Christoff. So I believe Johan Rupert wants to fuck off out of the country and stuff. So get a hold of him, bro. Get him on a podcast and convince him to buy you that piece of land, bro.
Dude, I think what we need to do is we need to buy it.
With what money, bro? What flipping money?
Bro. You telling me you don't have a loose 10,000 rand?
Yeah, of course, but still, what's
like seriously? You know how much property you can buy with $1 million? How much agricultural land you can buy with $1 million?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
This is not impossible. Like you can crowdfund a piece of land.
Yeah, then you just got to find some arms to change it.
We organize quick.
Well, that's what you
call it the defense force.
Look, guys, serious. Let me go on to property 24.
Yeah, look. While you're doing that, Christoff, I think that's it. Look, it is definitely doable, and I think what should happen is, you know, foundations and I've thought about this a lot. Is why they're not doing it is things and organizations like AfriForum. Not that I'm a fan of them, but Saitlanders and all of that. But sorry, I said that wrong. I am a fan of AfriForum. I don't like Saitlanders. Just to get out there, okay?
Me too.
It's like I said,
but here's the thing, okay? Is I've often wondered why organizations like AfriForum, who are kind of, I guess, combined to Solidariteit, are now sort of building universities and stuff, and they're not crowdfunding properties and that sort of thing. So a good way to do it, so an easy way to do it, okay, is what you can do as an organization like AfriForum or Solidariteit specifically, is you can actually kind of organize some sort of mutual fund, okay, where people would actually approach investors and say to those investors, look, this is what we're planning to do. We're planning on buying up, 1,000 hectares of land or whatever it is. And on that land, we are going to start building industries, factories, whatever it is, okay? And if you invest into that, then you basically have a share in that property and stuff, or that share in that land or whatever it is, okay? And that land will be protected by AfriForum's team of lawyers or whatever it is. And then that's a good way to sort of crowdfund. And also, look, if I was an investor and stuff, like a wealthy businessman or whatever it is, and I had, a couple of bar lying around and stuff, and they had to approach me and say that, I'd feel a lot safer having my money in that than having my money in, many other investments in South Africa. You understand what I'm saying?
Look, here is a 4,000 hectare farm going for 5 mil.
It's like it.
bro. That's like
for how much?
For 5 more.
5 bar.
For 4 hectares.
No, if you have $1 billion, if you raise $1 billion, you can buy basically all the farms that is for sale around Ceres right now.
How big?
And there are plenty. There's like one.
Because a hectare is 10,000 squares. A hectare is 10,000 squares. 100 by
massive, dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. With one, you could basically, if you had like $1 billion, you could buy freaking. I have to make a quick calculation, but that are on here.
That's massive.
There are plenty. Let me give you guys a screenshot here.
Yeah,
put it on. I mean, okay, so that is definitely doable and stuff, and I don't understand why. Because here's the thing, guys.
No, but you don't understand why, because nobody has started it. Someone needs to start it. We need to find the people that will start it. I think the best people to speak to would be someone like Davy Rood.
Yeah.
Davy, we need to make Davy coin.
Davy coin.
Davy coin, yeah. Davy.
Davy. Die kabouter wat van alles weet.
Yeah, so yeah, guys. So I don't know.
Listen, guys. Sorry to interrupt. I'm gonna get up early tomorrow morning. I've got a run to do. I've got to go run a half marathon tomorrow morning. So I need to check out. So I'm gonna say cheers, but it's been lacking hanging with all you guys. Discussing cool things.
Russell, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, my man. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay, it's Russell Reactionary checking out. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, bro.
100 cheers.
Yeah, so I think that definitely is 100% doable and stuff. It just needs to be. But how, Mpiyakhe, I want to ask you this, because you've obviously had these conversations with Chris Harting and Martin van Staden and all of them, with regards to how possible is it to preserve that sort of land and the government not taking that land from you?
It's I think it's very, like, if the government wants to take something from you, like, it's it looks like they will really just go through with it. I mean, it will take some parts of the states deciding to revolt against another part of the states in order for them to be stopped legally. So that's we need the adversarial system to work, but so far it seems not to be failing.
Okay, so basically, so this is the situation. We buy this I just saw Christoff put the screenshot over here, this 5.2 million rand farm, 3,600 hectares in Ceres, okay? We've got this massive plot of land. We start building industry on it. It flourishes, and it goes from being worth 5.2 million to worth 100 million in 10 years or whatever it is.
Yeah,
okay?
of course, yeah.
And government says, oh, fantastic. Here's land we can steal. Here's industry we can steal. Here's money we can steal. We're taking it, okay? So there's basically no recourse there.
Unless you commit yourself to defending it.
That's what I'm saying. You see, that's exactly what would need to happen. Like Christoff said, we'd have to basically start our own flipping,
policing.
Police force or army or something, because
yeah, dude, the whole thing, the whole tutti.
Yeah.
Dude, we will have the IT guys there, and we will have a robot army, bro. It's like when everyone goes to and everyone makes those videos about going to visit Oranje.
Yeah.
I always say the first thing I always ask myself is, I would ask that if I had to go to Oranje, get in there, I'd say to them, right, guys, where's your guns?
You know what we can do. We can if you want government not to seize the value of what you have, take that value and put it on and put it in crypto, and put it in a gold back crypto somewhere, and then they can't touch it. All of it, everything, like Make make all of your value will be linked to that. Don't put it inside the vulnerable spots.
But a lot of people are doing that. They are putting their money into cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I just think that government would still a big value of the value of the land would actually be the infrastructure. So I think that would be an easy one for the government to expropriate anyway. So for example, let's say it's
going to create a folk state that is non-racial. This would not be taking land from white people.
You know what is, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes, you can go.
So like if you, for example, what I'm thinking of, imagine if you had on this farm, we just have good broadband internet, fastest speeds possible, and we just have all of these people working like Christoff has said, building software, doing things that don't require much physical infrastructure. You just need the most you can lose is your laptop or whatever.
Interesting.
So crypto.
One way of looking at it, you just got to find the right oak that you can trust, because how many people have put money into cryptocurrency and then all of a sudden you get a phone call the next day say, sorry dude, the value's dropped, sorry. That has happened.
You're still going to need industry, because you're still going to have people that are going to be running all kinds of other shops, and we're still going to have to a certain extent, produce our own food and things that we're going to need ourselves. So they will be...
But Oranje, where are they getting their food from?
They grow it themselves, Drew.
Okay, but there's like I know there's OK stores here. I mean, surely that food's got to come from us.
They do import a lot of it, obviously.
They're not completely 100% self-sufficient, but they're trying their very best to get there. I mean,
here's the thing is, if they had to really cut themselves off, I guess they could. But then they just have to be without flipping pasteurized long life milk, I guess. I mean,
that will create a new market within the town.
Yeah,
because they got their own currency here.
For me, I think if you could get let's say 1,000 for argument's sake, people who, because the online economy is quite diverse now, so I think almost anyone can find a good niche for themselves. So if you could get 1,000 of those people who rely solely on the online economy, they get their value, whatever they earn, they get it stored into gold-backed crypto, they import whatever they need, and then they just hire private security to guard them and make sure that the place is never invaded.
That's the thing. The security would need to be tops.
That's what Oranje's got. They got their own security. It's not a police force. It's a security that they got in Oranje.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got more than the oak that stands at the heck with a knopkiri breed. That's why I'm very suspect when that's why I say if I had to go and visit that place, the first thing I'd say is, come, take me to the armory.
I mean,
do you guys think we'll be able to find 1,000 people to join up?
Yeah, I think we can.
Of course. What's the population of Oranje? It's like 2,000, isn't it?
No, but guys, you're missing the important part. What would we call it?
I'm thinking.
I don't know. As long as it's, I don't know if
we call it Byzantine.
That's we shall reclaim Byzantium. Yes.
Yeah. I like that name.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
And then our currency can be called, what's it? A Byzantium coin or something.
Yeah, and whose head's gonna go on it?
I don't know. No heads. No heads. Remember, we don't want to idolize.
There we go. 100%.
And idol worship anyone. So
I respect it.
No one's heads will go on any coins.
I respect
that. Put the frog on the coins.
What?
Put the frog on the coins.
Oh, the Pepe the Frog.
Pepe coin.
We can call it kick coin.
Yeah. I mean, just make trolling a part of your culture from the word go. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Meme culture.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, I need to go off.
I was gonna say let's call it. Let me wait. Hold on, guys. Let me just do my closing quickly, and then I'm gonna cut off. So, guys, thank you very much. Mpiyakhe, thank you for joining us. Christoff and Russell and Scott, thank you very much, guys. You guys were awesome. My podcast is available on Anchor FM, Spotify, Pocket Cast, Google, Apple Podcast. Also, I'll be putting this on YouTube. So, yeah, lekker, guys. Take it easy and keep the faith. Ciao.